I've got silk, I've got lace, I've got more lace, and I've got patterns, everyone. I have lots of patterns. So let's talk 2022 and get this rolling. I have so many fun things planned for this year. I am flat out excited. There's so much to sew. Let's get right down to it. Okay, let's talk 2022. All right, today I am going to finish listening to, also known as reading, because I believe that Audible is actually absolutely counts as reading a book. Also not sponsored by Audible, I just love Audible. I'm going to listen to the rest of my book, Renee Brown's Rising Strong. Fantastic read, wonderful. It's chapter 10. For anyone who's read a lot of self-help books, chapter 10 is when you get to the meat of it. Last night, I downloaded the Goodread apps and I put in all of my book ratings and rankings and whatnot. And I don't have a goal for reading. I don't really need one. I just read. So I sort of just want a record of what it is that I'm reading. So we'll find out what I do by the end of the year. The kids and dad are off skiing, so I've got the day to sew. I've been working on doing 1 week hair, where I wash my hair and set it, and then for the next 7 days I work with whatever is on top of my head without washing my hair again. It's actually working really well. If I didn't have a tight perm, this wouldn't work. This has never worked before, so this depended on short hair, tight perm. This is working really well so far. So I'm working on doing like 7-day hair video compilations. I'm not gonna replace the sewing videos that I normally upload sometime on Thursday or Sunday. I know that keeps going back and forth. That's just because reality demands it. I do have a life. So, what else? I started working on the Nora show about 11 months ago. I didn't load my first video until I think it was March? I think it was in March. Maybe it was May. Any which way, I am so close right now to actual YouTube monetization. I'm in shock. It is so close. I am like 25 subscribers off and less than 300 hours away. It's subscribers and it's hours watched. It's both 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours. It is so close. This is so wildly exciting. Goals for the Nora show for this next coming year. It's a YouTube thing, right? Where you're supposed to come on here and tell you your goals for the next year. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so I have 3 goals for the Nora show. 1, I want full-on monetization. I am so stinking excited about this. I don't even know where to begin. So close. So that's goal number 1. Number 2, 3 streams of income. YouTube will do one of them. Patreon is number 2. And if you want to support me in that, go down into the description, click on the link, become a Patreon member. Number 3, I am trying to do something completely impossible. I want a work, life, job, personal joys and hobbies, family relationships, parenting my kids, my relationship with my husband, my friendships. I want there to be a genuine, realistic balance between all of these things where I'm not getting shoved or pulled or pushed too far in any one arena of my existence. I want something calm and happy. I already know that I have a list longer than I will ever be able to accomplish with the Nora show of ideas and fun things to do and projects that I could create and things that I could film. I have a list so long at this point. I will never run out of content. So the real thing for me is to make sure that I don't end up in burnout. I need to make sure that I'm capable of doing this with as much enthusiasm today as I will next year and the year after. I'm in for the long haul. I love doing this and I want to keep it that way. So that is a huge goal for this year, that I do not bite off more than I can chew, that I actually take on projects that I want to say yes to, and not just projects that, oh, well, this will make me money, or isn't that clickbaity? No, I want to sew what I want to sew, which moves me into the next thing. What is it that I'm actually doing here? When I started sewing, it was always in the back of my mind that I really do want a specific wardrobe that you can't purchase nowadays, not really. And I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna actually make this happen. I'm seeing my wardrobe, my closet transform from something that was entirely store-bought to now I'm really actually struggling with what is fitting in my closet again. And I already did a closet purge. I did a massive closet purge. I tried to make it into a video. It was more of an exasperated blank look on my face without a whole lot of coherent sentences. Mostly it was me looking at things going, why? So the ultimate goal of the Nora show, the absolute ultimate, the ultimate result is that I want a fully functioning wardrobe, complete with undergarments, dress up, house dresses, loungewear, pajamas, all of it. From the 20s, and seasonally. From the 20s, from the 30s, from the 40s, the 50s, and I'm gonna say that I want a little bit out of the first half of the 60s, but strictly in the mod arena. I don't know enough about this to use terms correctly or to describe very well what it is that I'm looking at. We'll get there, probably in a decade. That's okay. Again, big life project here. And I like that. That's a good thing for me. Having a life project right now is a really good idea for me. This will look good on me emotionally, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So I'm reserving the right to bounce back and forth between decades with the understanding that I am building 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 4 separate wardrobes right now. 4 complete, huge, massive wardrobes.
I don't know where this is going. Don't ask. I have no idea where I'm putting this. I've already discussed this with my husband. The best idea that we have right now is that we have a costume closet downstairs in the basement, that as soon as I run out of room on my side of the closet where things are not working and not making sense, there will be a...
Please also note that I also absolutely adore the 1910s. So basically what I'm saying is that I'm never gonna run out of content. There is always something to sew. I'm also hoping that this is the year that I upgrade my camera. That would be fabulous. I would be very happy to do that. I should have an upgrade to my lighting. I've got an upgrade to my sound, and I also very much am hoping to take some time and take a look at a different film editing program for this year, so that I have maybe a little bit more control over the sound and the lighting editing stuff. This is wildly outside of my range of expertise or any formal knowledge-based anything. I'm going to draft the pattern for the green silk nightgown from 1928. Absolutely gorgeous. Time to sew. I could not be more pleased right now. I was worried about being able to show this off, considering my modesty and whatnot. And I remembered that I had this white plain 20s slip, so this actually fit right underneath it, and I don't feel like I'm thoroughly embarrassing myself. The only thing that I'm fairly sure is not correct is where this ended up meeting in the back. I personally very much like how it pulls it up into that little neat V, and because I was very, very even with it, I really like where it's landing. Now, for 1928, I would say that this needed to come down like this in more of a square manner and have fabric in between. That just quite simply did not happen. However, I would be very happy and will be very happy to sleep in a silk nightgown. Now, because I'm extra and because all of this goes together, and I'm sure that there's a link somewhere around here in this time period that connects to me making this. Ooh, nope, that's inside out. So there's this lovely ensemble that I now have. And let's say it's snowing outside and cold, and I need something a little bit more warm, and I wanted the lace to match everything. Oh yes, and don't forget, we've got contrasting greens. So, 1928, across all of this is actually 1928, and I feel that I have done a decent job showing what that would look like. I also think that I've done a very decent job using remnants and thrift store material and a curtain and my mother-in-law's lace. Again, thank you. I'm going to use it. I don't know exactly how, but it is all going to get used. And this is lovely. Okay. It is like 4:30. It took me one day to make this, from drafting to cutout to done. So I gotta say, I really like the simplicity of the 1920s a lot. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm actually going to call it. That's the sum total of what today's video was about. And I'm going to start making plans for a... Now, I've got lots of stuff going on here. Okay. So the next thing that I want to mess with is this lace panel, because what I really want, I want a drapey, beautiful gown to traipse around in and, you know, exist. I don't know, read a book. Sew more things. I don't know. I don't care. I just want it, so I'm going to sew it. All right. It's been on my wall for years. I don't have any more green walls, so therefore, I'm going to make it into something I can wear. I am resourceful. So go into the description for links. My Patreon account is in there as well, because I know that you want to see more Mr. Watson. May your thread tension always be perfect. Happy New Year, everyone.